day one, a violent vertical edge setter.
I see some gas on the edge. Give that mindset to put your shoulder on somebody. Dig, drop. You're finished. Hey, first down. These are weird. It works the best, right?
Dun dun. So triumphant, isn't it? I love that intro. That's my favorite, I think. That one's my favorite one. Hello, everybody. We are back for an extended little chat called the After Hours Jets Fest. I am GreenBean. I'm glad that you are here. We just kind of continued, right? This way we tried to make this one quicker. I didn't wait till 10:30. I jumped in a little bit early just to kind of, we'll just make this one short, sweet, to the point. Get some of your questions up here. Try to see how in depth we can get and see if I can actually hold to this 30-minute idea. There he is, Dick Chimney's burner, the winner of the Jets Talk 24/7 Talking Jets panel T-shirt giveaway tonight. There he is. Congratulations, man. It's nice to see that you won. You know. Let me be honest with you guys. You know how number one, I'm the guy who collects all the qualifiers, right? I have a little voice in my head that says cheat every week, like just pick somebody, but I've never done it, right? I've always just allowed the numbers to do it, but I'm always rooting that it's you guys in the chat, not Twitter. Always. I'm like, when it's a Twitter guy, I'm like, you know what I mean? Sometimes I'm like, I'm inclined to cheat. Like I have that voice every week, but I never do it. So there you go. I'm glad, Dick Chimney, you actually won. So there it is. What did I say? I think I made it for the wrong date, right? Didn't I do that? I just did it real fast. So I thought when I was about to go live, the streaming software said, just so you know, you're not scheduled to start. I'm like, whatever. I just started it. So my bad. I did it very, very fast. So let's see what you guys are talking about here. Right, Hank said probably just a slip up. Let's see. He said his wife was asleep and he's going to do a 30-minute show that goes for hours. That's why he's my RV goat. Yeah, man. I know that's what usually happens. So what time is it's 10. I started at 10:24, I think it was. We are now 3 minutes in. So yeah. Let's see how we do. Okay. Let's see how we do. So you guys are the best. Matt's here. Dick Chimney's burners here, right? We got Kenobi Clone in the house. Dave's here. Nice. Braden's here. I know Braden. Braden's already, he's like, no way. I'm going to do it. I'm going to hold to it. I'm already waiting for my wife to text me and say, like, I thought you were coming in. I'm going to be like, I'm doing something. I'll be in a second. That's what I'm going to say. Hopefully she doesn't yell at me. So, I have to say, like, and look, we talked about it a little bit in the last stream, of course, but I'm really kind of knocked silly by this idea that the Saints and Carr are meeting and there's already been compensation agreements. Like they're already okay. Similar to, remember last year when the Jets and Dolphins were trading, they were trying to trade for Tyreek Hill and the Chiefs said, well, we're totally, the compensation's been agreed upon. Pick which team you want to go to. Like, I would like to see more teams involved with that, namely us. I'm upset. I got to be honest. That really, I found that out 90 seconds before we were live, and I don't know what. I still don't. I'm nervous. I really am. There's Riz. What's up, Riz? So Kareem Carson, right? I'm with you. I mean, look, there could be a couple things, right? So Kareem says, if Joe Douglas doesn't aggressively pursue Carr for Aaron Rodgers and we miss on both, he has to go. I'm not going that far. Going to sign Jimmy G and he'll be on season-ending IR by week 7. Well, that's the concern. Again, I am of the school of thought. I don't think that we're one strike away from Joe Douglas being fired. I don't see it. Again, like we know, Woody has had to go outside the organization twice, and they both flopped, both big flops, Idzik and Macadoodles, right? So I think he remembers that. He doesn't want to do that again. Christopher Johnson, his little brother, when he was over there in England, Chris took over and he took a shot at hiring. He got screwed too. So it's not easy. It's not easy out there. He knows Joe Douglas is the real deal, man. You know, now nobody's going to be perfect, but again, like you look around the team, the idea that we can even say we're a quarterback away. Think about this. 2 years ago, could you honestly say that this was an attractive spot for a Derek Carr or an Aaron Rodgers? We know they'll never choose us. Never. Our wide receivers, Joe Douglas's first year, when he got hired after the draft and free agency was all but over, our wide receivers were Robbie Anderson. We had Jamison Crowder, but he was hurt. We had Hogan, right? Chris, whatever his name was. I mean, it was just a big batch of scrubs, dude. And then they were all hurt, so we had to bring in guys off the street, Dante Moncrief. It was like, we had nothing. We had no running backs. We had Trenton Cannon. Remember, he brought in Ty Johnson off the scrap heap, off waivers. We had nobody on this team. The offensive line was completely non-existent. He had to go and talk Ryan Khalil off the couch. There's nobody else available. He said, at least I can get this guy. He was in a Pro Bowl look in the last few years, he's like a couple Pro Bowls. So I don't know. Again, like the idea that the Jets could even be considered attractive. You hear all the talking heads, they're like, the Jets would be perfect for the fact that that's even happening is Joe Douglas. And I think that can't be undervalued. It can't be undervalued. But I agree with you, Kareem. I think he should be aggressively pursuing him. And Aaron agrees. It would be criminal. But let's remember this. There's a very real potential that Carr doesn't want to come here. This is not the sweetest meat in the league for a quarterback. I mean, let's just be real. We like to wear it like a badge of honor, like us Jets fans. We're tough and we don't take shit and and that's who we are, right? But we are known to go overboard, and you just look at what we did last year to this poor kid, Zach Wilson. We took it way past a quarterback. I mean, when his mother is getting DMs and shit, man, about her son has caused me more misery. Like, I know. And then like yelling things like kill yourself from the sideline. Like a guy like Derek Carr could legitimately be looking at this like, all right, well, they have tons of talent and I don't want to deal with that shit. If I have 2 bad games or something, I don't want to deal with it. Their media is the worst. That's real. So we got to remember that too. Dom C, what's up, buddy? He says, Carr has a full no trade clause. Teams can agree to whatever trade compensation they want. Carr holds all the cards here. Everyone needs to breathe. That's the thing, but Carr, like if we don't hear the Jets involved, it could very easily be, you don't want to come here. And that Joe Douglas might be pursuing aggressively as can be. It doesn't matter. My whole thing is I just want to hear us in the damn conversation. That's all. That's it. Some guy says we could use Mangini as a head of scouting. It's a shame too, because Mangini's last draft is marred by the Vernon Gholston selection at 6 overall. Tough. The tough one. So what are you going to do? Didn't we get, wasn't that the Dustin Keller draft too, though? I think so. So I think, we traded up. So we got 2 first. So you had Vernon Gholston and Dustin Keller as the last pick in the first round. He was very good. Dustin Keller was a good player. Interestingly enough, again, lots of Jets fans couldn't stand Dustin Keller. I never understood it. He wasn't the greatest blocker, but that's not what, how that goes. There are tight ends that are blocking tight ends. There are tight ends that are receiving tight ends. Then there are those guys, my favorite, the guys that, imagine this, can do both. They block their asses off and they're good receivers. I mean, those are the guys I think that optimally you want. The Jets for many years did this thing where they got guys that were solely one or the other. They would always have that. So we would have like Eric Tomlinson and then, Dustin Keller, rather than shoot for these guys like a Pat Fryermuth or a, Kittle or, somebody like that. Kelsey can block, and receive. But Dustin Keller was a fantastic player for us. And I'm telling you, man, I talked about it for years. Don't forget, I was online doing Jet stuff back then. Like a lot of us, we weren't doing that yet. YouTube wasn't a thing. It existed, but this world that we're in right now didn't exist. We weren't doing this. Like it was chat rooms. Matthias Simon will tell you. So we were talking about it. There were lots of people that they couldn't wait to move on from Dustin Keller. I never understood it. So, we're a tough fan base, man. We really are, let's see. Quick Dallo. If we can't land a quarterback, Douglas got to go. You can completely whiff on Zach and not find a way to replace him. Again, I think jumping to he's got to go, I think is crazy. It's crazy. I think it would be a hit. It would be a major whiff, and it would be bad. But, again, I think it was Dom. We were doing a stream together. He had a stat. It was like the last however many years, there were 15 quarterbacks that were taken in the top 5. 11 were busts or disappointing. Maybe not complete busts, but 11 out of 15, 4 hit. So you got to remember that stuff. It's like we look at everything kind of in a, this little microcosm, like this is everything. It's like, no, well, when you open it up and look around at what's real and what's normal and what's likely and what's more appropriate percentages, Joe Douglas is doing a fantastic job, man. Matt had a good point. He's got to improve with the free agency. And, I think that's a very, very fair point. He's got his hits, but I think a lot of them were disappointing. Most of the guys, even like Jordan Whitehead this year, it's like he nailed it with DJ Reed. That is a home run. Jordan Whitehead is disappointing. So much so, in fact, that there's a very real possibility that he might not be here next year. That's interesting. Snowball says, well, that's the rumor right now. Who was it? That somebody, there was a tweet that said the rumored compensation is somewhere in the 3rd round pick range, that it's a modest request because the Raiders know that on the 15th, they're on the hook for stuff. So they would love to get something for him. This is what I was saying. I find it very difficult to believe that they're not going to get some sort of trade done. But Carr could put his foot down and say, nope, not going there, not going there. He could play and be very difficult because it's not just this year that they're on the hook. If he's on the team on February 16th, they actually have a $7.5 million dead cap in 2024 as well. So it's gonna impact them. So they would love to like get out of this as clean as you can. With this little out option and then get a 3rd. I think that's why I was saying a 2nd and a 5th. Shit. 3rd. Wow. Right? That's the thing, Dick Chimneys, bro. Like, let's not forget where we came from and who we are. This isn't going to the Dallas Cowboys as a new coach and just kind of being their next coach. It's not that. This is the Jets. We spent 12 years ensuring that we were among the bottom dregs of the NFL, and not just like in record, like in complete ineptitude. Just from A to Z, man. We were terrible, embarrassing. And we knew it as fans. We're out here. We see it. We see the choices they're making. We're like, why? The Idzik 12, I couldn't believe that draft. From the 1st round pick all the way through. I think I liked 3 of the selections. I was like, okay. And I watched all 7 rounds of that friggin' draft. I was online on Jetnation. Back then, we used to do the chat feature on Jetnation, so we would just talk through the chat. Man, that was a terrible draft. And we knew it the whole time. Like, this is atrocious. The Adam Gase hiring, oh my God. How? You got Mike McCarthy saying the only team I'll coach for this year is the New York Jets. He said that publicly. He wanted the Arizona Cardinals, and there was another team, I forget who it was, to leave him alone. He said, I'm only going to coach if the Jets want me. If not, I'm taking a year off. Imagine. And then you had Matt Rule, who at the time, he wasn't an NFL coach, but he had rebuilt 2 programs in college, smaller schools, but still a good job, Temple and Baylor. He rebuilt them. And the Jets, think about this, guys. We wanted to hire him as a head coach, and we didn't want him to pick his own staff. That is absurd. Remember, he said he called Parcells, and Parcells laughed. Said, dude, get out of there. You know what I mean? He said, run, save yourself. There's no way they want to. And I think the rumor was, now I don't think this was ever confirmed. Hey, Wyatt, how you doing, buddy? It wasn't confirmed, but the rumor was that the coordinators that the Jets, Mike McCagnon, wanted to force on Matt Rule were none other than Adam Gase as the offensive coordinator and Greg Williams as a defensive coordinator. That's what they wanted. So they didn't really want the head coach. They had this design. It's just crazy, man. So you can't forget, all who we were, was just said. We used to have to pay a Jets tax for players to even consider here. Remember, Avery Williamson came out a couple of years later after he was already gone from the Jets, but last year he said it. He said that he was about to sign with, I think, he came from Tennessee, but I think he was about to sign with the Indianapolis Colts. He said, but maybe it was the Titans. I forget exactly how that end goes. But he said it was all but a done deal, and the Jets came in at the last minute offering too much money that he couldn't ignore it. He said out of nowhere, the Jets just came in and blew the deal out of the water. C.J. Mosley, the following, interestingly enough, so we gave a big contract to middle linebacker Avery Williamson. The next year, we got screwed over by Anthony Barr. He agreed, and then he reneged because he said, remember what he said, guys? He said he he agreed to it, and he thought about it. Him and his wife talked about it, and they just couldn't stomach the idea of going to play for the Jets. It wasn't worth the money. That's what he said. But then what do? So we just blew the doors off Avery Williamson, middle linebacker. Instead of fixing another area, we went and got C.J. Mosley and paid him $5 million more per year than the going rate, than the top linebacker in the NFL. So I just want to remind everybody of that stuff. I understand what we're saying, if Joe Douglas fails, it's a bad thing. Yes, but doesn't have to go. Who the hell are we bringing in here? We've just had consecutively, arguably, the 2 best drafts we've ever had. I mean, Zach, again, sucks. But, dude, give this guy time to just continue to get better. You don't want to pull the rug out from a guy who's clearly getting better, where the team's better. I don't know. That's how I see it. John Liv, 3897. What's up, buddy? Thank you. He says, Garrett Wilson is the classiest player ever. I love Garrett Wilson. I think, and forgive me, I know there's kind of a Daffy Duck thing going on. I still have the remnants of this side of my face. It's still, Bell's palsy is still here. It's getting better, significantly better, but I still can't whistle. See how my face just doesn't respond? Yeah. So sometimes it just keeps happening. Like, so I'm sorry. It's just I hear it. But I think Garrett Wilson is just such a great get. We never hit like we did on our Sauce and Garrett Wilson. I mean, come on, man. The last time we had the 2 firsts in the first round, well, without the year prior, we had AVT and Zach. And before that, man, we had Sheldon Richardson and D Milner. Like that's what we did with two firsts. And then the trade back up and get Jermaine Johnson at 26. But like Garrett Wilson, man, what an amazing player. And like I said, I don't know if you guys heard it in the last stream. Like I said, man, he exhibits a lot of traits that give me confidence that he's not just going to be that kind of anomalous, hey, he had a good year and fell off a cliff and now he's just in like kind of an average. He doesn't exhibit anything of the sort. He looks like the guy, and I mean, just week after week after week going, wow, oh my God. Like he just looks like the guy he wants so badly to be the best player on the field. And I think he's special, man. I really do. Are you talking about Dwayne Robertson, Watch2K? New York Sports Wicker Media, Watch2K, everybody. President of the Virginia Jets fan club. I think you're talking about Dwayne Robertson. Let me tell you something, man. When we had 2 firsts in that draft class, it was known at that time to be one of the strongest defensive tackle draft classes in recent memory, in the last decade at least. That was like one of the strengths of the draft class. Interior defensive line. Richard Seymour came out of there. A few others. Some not everybody ended up being great, but we traded 2 firsts. I don't remember the 4th, but to move up to get Dwayne Robertson, who was considered raw. Like he had all this upside, but like I didn't even like him the best. I remember thinking, why? Just stand pat and take Seymour. That was the guy that most Jets fans wanted, Richard friggin' Seymour. And we traded up past, to take Dwayne Robertson. Now they called him a bowling ball with butcher knives, right? That was what they called him. He had his moments. He did. And Tannenbaum was able to trade him to Denver, which was interesting because he looked like he was falling off a cliff. The fact that Tannenbaum got anything for him was really nice. It was really special. It was like, I couldn't believe it. But the fact that Bradway took him and traded. He traded a first for what the hell was it? I want to say Ricky Dudley, but he was the guy from the Knicks, right? The center. He couldn't hit free throws. Remember that guy? But the tight end from the Raiders, we traded a first for him. Like he took a second and used it on a kicker. Like our Terry Bradway is another one. We don't talk about how bad he was enough. He was atrocious. Such bad draft. I mean, he got us Santana Moss, Jonathan Vilma. Had a couple nice picks, but his drafts were, I think that was him. That might have been Vilma, might have been Trader Mike. I don't know. It's all mixed up, but Terry Bradway was bad. We can go through it if you'd like one day. Matthew Zucker, what's up, man? I just want a damn home playoff. I know. Is that too much to ask, Matt? Is that too much? That's all we want. That's all we want. That's not all we want. But wouldn't that be nice? It's like this year. We couldn't get 2 more wins. We had 6 before the bye. We couldn't get just 2 more. We weren't asking for too much, man. We just wanted a wild card game. That's all we wanted. We wanted to get past the end of the season, crush this damn streak, and just have an extra week of football. We could feel good about building something. Because if that happened, even if we only won 2 more, which don't forget, we had 6 one-score losses. The Vikings game, the second Bills, each of the Patriot games, we could have very easily won 2 of those. And if we just did, we're not feeling the same way that we're feeling now about this team, the concern. We're looking at it as a definite incline in progress. It's that damn collapse, man. What's up? Talking Kiss fans. There they are. You see my little Paul Stanley? I don't know if you can see him. Where is it? It's where is he? He's right here. Can you see him? He's right there. H2O Field. Little tiny Paul Stanley guy. Sitting right there. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see what else we got here. McCarthy. Holy shit, I'm behind. All right, let me see. I know, dude. I tell you what, I wanted Mike McCarthy that year. I couldn't believe that he was available. No, he was imperfect. There was a lot to be said for the idea that, Mike McCarthy was kind of successful because of who he had at quarterback, right? That was an argument. And I get it. But I thought, he's a very, very strong coach. And we, being the team that loves to bring on first-time coaches, it was real nice to actually bring on a head coach that has in recent years, a Super Bowl victory. Bring him on. He wanted to coach up Sam Darnold. That's why he wanted to come here. Sam was a rookie. He had ups and downs, but he had those last 4 or 5 games. He looked really good. Mike McCarthy, known to be a very good quarterback coach, wanted to come here and work with Sammy. That was the way. Now, you look and we wouldn't have had Joe Douglas. We would have had Mike. Still would have had McCagnon. So who knows, right? It would have been a big mistake. Probably wouldn't have worked. But the idea that we couldn't identify the difference between Mike McCarthy and Adam Gase, it's just, you have to wonder, who the hell is looking at this? They could have very easily just reached into the fandom and said, hey, look, we see you guys, you're out there. Come on in here. We want to talk to you. Get 5 of us. Go in there. Guys on boards that post a lot and say good things. Bring us into a little room. Just say, look, we're a little too close. We're kind of stuck. What do you guys think? Here's what we're looking at. Which way should we go? I'm telling you right now, all 5 of them, when they said we're down to Adam Gase, Matt Rule, and Mike McCarthy, you would have had an argument, maybe a discussion about McCarthy versus Rule. At the end of the day, we would have all chose Mike McCarthy. That's the truth of it. Even if you didn't love him, that's the candidates. And then you had, what's his name? The guy who just got fired from the Cardinals. I didn't want him for a second. He just got fired from Oklahoma State. What the hell's his name? I can't remember it. I can't remember his name. Yeah, that's a good Adam. Right. And that's the thing. We should require that. If you want to fire JD, you need to come with some candidates. Because everybody just thinks there's another guy. There's another guy. Who? I don't know. Yeah, some guy. Sheldon Richardson won Defensive Rookie of the Year. You know what was so weird about Sheldon Richardson? That they decided to change his position. They started using him on the outside as a linebacker and shit. Dropping him in the coverage. It was the weirdest thing. Why? He won Rookie of the Year, dude. Just let him do his thing. But he also had all that shit. Remember he got caught speeding 120 miles an hour with a kid in the car and weed and guns. Remember all that? And then he was like, he got away from the police and hid in a driveway and they found him. Like, it just like, we don't need that shit, man. Like, you don't see that with, you don't see that with Garrett Wilson and Sauce. These are good. They got good heads on their shoulders, man. The thing, Doug Jolly, thank you. There it is. There it is. It's great. Thank you, Doug Jolly. Like the decisions, like, again, I think a lot of fans, like, we're not thinking it through. You have to look at the whole, like using the 2020 draft. Joe Douglas whiffed on the 2020. Yeah, okay. Number one, it's not even defined yet. I mean, Becton could still be a player. Mims could still be a player. But let's just say that even if they're not, clearly he's improved since then. That was his first ever draft, dude. It was his first ever draft. It's his first time doing it. The picks, most of them made sense. They weren't terrible picks. I thought James Morgan was a bad pick. Aston Davis was a bad pick I didn't like. Cam Clark was a great pick. Braden Mann was a great pick. Bryce Hall was a great pick. Jabari Zuniga was a very strong pick. I thought he was drafted early. I would have liked to seen him drafted in the next round, but the player was good. Very, very accomplished player down in Florida. So, I mean, the positional, it made sense. But okay, it's a whiff, let's say. You can't say that about the 2021 class. You can't. You can say Zach, sure. But he's hitting far above average. And last year's draft, like, he's getting better. I don't know. I don't know. Hey, Aunt Gina. How you doing? Aunt Gina in the house. What's up? What time is it? If I'm getting off in 30 minutes, I got a Kingsbury. There he is. Right. Cliff Kingsbury. There it is. All right. So let me get another question here. Yeah, but he was an alternate Pro Bowl, some guy, if I remember correctly. Yeah, and look, in Paris, Paris was talking about this in the previous stream as well. Another thing, I know people just say it's excuses, but I don't look at things as excuses. I look at real scenarios and variables that are at play, right? That's what I look at. The truth is Adam Gase and Joe Douglas were on the same authoritative level, but Adam Gase was here first. So there's really the idea that if there was a little struggle on who's going to make the final, Adam Gase probably had even more power than Joe Douglas. First time GM, just got here. Adam Gase was here and actually just got the previous GM fired. So he had Christopher Johnson's ear, man. So there's that. Adam Gase had just as much say as Joe Douglas in that draft. Just as much. But even if Gase wasn't making the decisions, let's remember Joe Douglas was drafting for an entirely different staff, too. I know. Then there's the COVID shit. I mean, there's just so many reasons why it could legitimately just be one of those. Okay, yeah. Too many negatives, too many variables at play. We messed up. No problem. You know what I mean? I think so too, G. And I think, look, Denzel Mims again, like, dude, let's just be real for a second. He's never had the label that he garnered here until Mike LaFleur came here. That's it. Never. His whole career, even his rookie year, he didn't have that issue. He was not a schlub. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't aloof. None of those things. Then Mike LaFleur comes here, and all of a sudden, they're making him learn 3 positions. He gets food poisoning, loses 20 pounds, comes back. They make the road real hard. Again, they make him have to learn all 3 positions. And then he gets some playing time. He catches COVID. Like, it's just, there's a lot there. Denzel Mims is fine. And if Becton, let's say the health thing changes. He lost weight. Let's just say it's a big if. All right. But he's only 23 years or 24 years old. I think he might be 23. Let me just make sure. Let's just make sure. Dude, he's 23 years old, guys. Still 23. He's born April 18th, 1999. So he'll be 24 when the next season starts. That is crazy young still. So let's just say, best case scenario happens. Mekhi Becton stays healthy and is just the player that we thought he was. That's it. The player that we saw rookie year, and Denzel Mims comes in and he's the player that we saw rookie year. If that happens, that draft is literally saved. Because, dude, you're not going to hit on every pick. It's just not real. White Mike says, do not get extorted for Rodgers. Keep picking. I don't know. I definitely, I get that, man. I really do. I really do. At the same time, like, we got a shot here. Like, what's the big deal? Give up a damn pick. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I mean, I love draft picks. I'm always a fan of trading back, gaining a little. I love to have more chips. I love it. I really do. But come on. You know what I mean? Like, it's a chance to get a truly great quarterback who, in a bad year, with a broken thumb, and they took away his wide receiver, brand new offensive coordinator. Like, there's so many things. He still had what would have been the best Jets quarterbacking year in 20 fucking years. You know what I mean? Like, it's an opportunity. So, like, would I let one first round pick stop me from that opportunity? I got to think, I got to shake that off and just say, no, just take the opportunity, man. It's like, Jerry Jones said, everything that ever was valuable, in my life, I overpaid for. Just the way it is. You got to overpay for shit that you think is going to work out. It doesn't always work, but sometimes you got to overpay. Tigo's in the house. Talking Jets with Tigo. Don't forget to support our boy Tigo. Put out great content as well. Very analytical young fella. Love that people like to say when you give context, you're making excuses. People need to learn and understand there's a difference. It's well said. It's not an excuse to include everything at play. It's not an excuse. You know what I mean? It's like, somebody's like homeless. Like, this guy's a loot. No, my house just, that's an excuse. Why don't you have a house? It just burned down. This guy fucking living on the street. He's a guy scrub. You know what I mean? It's like you got to consider everything included. And then you can make a more accurate assessment of what's really going on. And I think Woody, having so many failed attempts, did you hear it, Daffy Duck? I think he knows. He sees the difference, man. He sees it. There's a whole different thing. We are not the same Jets. And it's going to take a while. He's only had 3 drafts, 3 off seasons, Mekhi Becton's 23. I can't get past that. It's right. He's going into his 4th year. He's 23. He was 19 when we drafted him. God. 20. Just turned 20. What's up, Rusty Spooner? He says, what's up, GreenBean? Everyone, I hope we keep our first and trade back multiple times. Jacoby Brissett could be our Trent Dilfer or Brad Johnson. I don't know. Let me say this. I am very open to a trade back from 13 to, we just played with it the other night in the 10 o'clock mock, sliding back 6 spots to 19 in that one. But I would love to see us look, let's say we're shooting for the tackles and Johnson and Skronsky are gone. The next guys they probably don't have rated as high. I'm telling you right now, Broderick Jones and the rest of the crew. You know, it's just they probably don't have them all rated as high. I mean, like I was looking into some guys this week. Anton Harrison is somebody I think is probably going to surpass Broderick Jones. We were looking at some guys. What the hell was his name again? Let me hold on a second. I'm not with the names yet. I'm all over the place. Anyway, I can't remember his name. But there's like, so they might, the point is, if those guys are gone and they're thinking offensive tackle, like you can take the same tier at 13 or 26, trade back to 26, man. Get those extra seconds, thirds, fourths, fifths, whatever you can. Next year, get, whatever. Build some capital. That's the smart way to do it. Well, that would be great. Gerbo Fotius. The whole thing with that is you got to remember, we're not the only team negotiating. So you're offering a second and a third, or a second and a third and a conditional, and somebody else comes in and goes, I'll give you 2 first, no problem. Do you say, nope, I'm out? You say, no, I'll give you 2 first. And I'll throw in a 5th. You know what I mean? Like once you're that close, like Joe Douglas said, I think very appropriately, I love this statement from him. We like to be aggressive, but we stop. I mean, I'm paraphrasing. Exactly how he said it is different. He said, we like to be aggressive, but we stop when we're getting into being reckless. We're aggressive, not reckless. And I like that. That's the way to be, man. At the same time, when you're that close, it's like being $5 away. Like you're already up, you're bidding on something on eBay and you're already up to $215, and now somebody's $2. And yeah, I said $215 was my limit. But you can spend $2 more or $3 more and get it. You're already there. Just spend the fucking $3 more. You know what I mean? So that's how I see it. Who knows? I know he's a beast, dude. You talked to Jamie Robinson's agent? Dom had a fun interview with Jamie. It was good. Down at the Senior Bowl. So that's cool, man. What happened? You got to tell us. That's what I think, Tigo. Now, look, like I shared with you guys, I'm in the first stage, real stage of what I do every year. I waited this year. I enjoyed the season. So I waited. I'm still I'm not where Dom and Tigo and like Dylan from Jetnation, like these guys are on it, man. They're deep. They're balls deep. I'm not there yet. I'll get there, but I'm just not there yet. So I'm still kind of a little shaky. But I was looking into Anton Harrison 2 nights ago. Before the 10 o'clock mock, actually, I was working on some offensive line stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I like him more than I like Broderick Jones right now. I still got to watch some additional breakdown stuff and as much full game tape. But, man, I like him, dude. Super strong. I love his, how well he can hold his balance. I just think he's got a real strong lower portion of his body. He's super athletic. I like him. So again, when, it's all about some people look at it and go, you got to get a tackle at 13. And that's not wrong if that's your goal. But if the top rated tackles are gone, and again, you can get this, let's say you got Harrison and Jones and Steen or whoever it is in the next tier, and you got a pretty good idea that one of them is going to be there for your second. Why use your 13th pick on them? Use it on Brian Branch and then get the next guy with your second, or slide back a little bit and gain a third and then take them. You know what I mean? That's the way to do it. Now you got to be careful with that stuff. Like McCagnon would move for the sake of moving. It was stupid. Like, why are you doing it? You're moving around, giving away sevens to jump one spot. He's done that 3 times. Why are you giving away a 7th to jump one damn spot? Who's freaking you out? And the guys he picks, Bryce Petty, Chuma Edoga, like, why are we giving away extra picks for these guys? But if you play it correctly, Joe Douglas has done a really good job, for the most part, sliding up and back in the draft, gaining, giving. Like he got Breece Hall for essentially for a 5th. It's nothing. You know how unlikely it is that 5th round pick is going to be able to contribute at that level? Now, Joe Douglas has shown an ability to hit with those damn 5ths. We didn't have any this year because he used them both. He used one on Breece Hall and the other one on Jermaine Johnson. Fine. Fine. But then you look at it, you got what? Sherwood was a 4th. So you had Michael Carter II, Bryce Hall, and I think we might have had another one, right? Was Pinnock? I think Pinnock may have been a 6th. I think he was a 5th too. Either way. That's it, right, Dick? Chimney's burner. Totally. Yeah, Gregory Klein. I think it's funny. I'm really liking Sauce Gardner. Good night, Aunt Gina. I really like Sauce Gardner. Again, I don't know how to necessarily the sunglasses inside thing. If he wasn't a Jet, I'd probably be making fun of him. That's the truth. Like, take your fucking sunglasses off. That's what I'd probably be saying. That said, I really like this Sauce Gardner guy. I like his personality. In addition to what he's bringing on the field, I like it. And I think the NFL has embraced him as a guy they want to make into a superstar. I see it. I just see it. I see him. They're kind of pushing him out there, right? And when there's that guy, he tends to get the benefit of the doubt in ref calls and all that. Like Revis, they never called Revis for pass interference because they knew he's legit. And if it happens here and there, unless it's egregious, but he doesn't do that. He doesn't need to. If it's there, it's very close, and they just lean benefit of the doubt. I see Sauce Gardner kind of moving that way. But his comments, I don't think Joe Douglas is sharing with Sauce Gardner what the plans are. I just don't think that's true. He says, I know a thing or two. He knows more than we do. He's got more people that he can talk to and everything, but I don't think they're giving him that information. I think the comments are just fun. Didn't he say in the beginning, I woke up trolling that morning? Didn't he say that? Something like that. Oh, it's funny. Rusty, we were talking like after the stream when I said I was going to do this one. We were talking, Ryan. We were saying, how quickly do you think somebody mentions Ryan wanting to trade Sauce for Lamar Jackson? There it is. Took a long time. Took till the end. Sauce is Detroit? What's that mean? I don't know what that means. Exactly right. It's a great point, Finnegan. Here's the thing, though. I do think they were questionable, right? They were very close. But when you slowed those plays down, the Sauce Gardner non-calls, when you slowed them down, most of them were not pass interference. They're just weird looking because he doesn't turn his head and he looks at the eyes to time the exact. It's a unique style. And usually when they have that, when they're just kind of not turning their head and they're just playing the receiver, usually there's a pass interference involved. But most of those were non-calls for a good reason. But I'm with you, though. I said it numerous times, like, shit, man, he's going to start getting called. And he got a couple. But generally speaking, I think the NFL, it just looks to me like they've embraced him. They're going to put him out front. And then when you start stacking players like that up, Garrett Wilson's another one. Quinnen, right? Like, these are good guys to have as the face of your organization. CJ Mosley, very respected, all pro. I think his second team all pro, but a Pro Bowler. Like these kinds of guys, these kinds of players. DJ Reed, he didn't get the Pro Bowl nod, but he certainly should have. But again, well respected around the league, not getting, shitty, stupid calls. But we have good guys out front. If we just have a damn quarterback. Paris checking in. This is going to be it for tonight. What were the Jets thinking by not having a good veteran quarterback to start season in Zach Wilson's rookie season? Were there any veteran quarterbacks available? Well, let me say this. I also thought they should have had a different quarterback. I mean, but his rookie season was, we had Mike White, who there was someone else here though too. Who was, Anthony Johnson was the guy that he was the vet on the roster. They kept sticking him on the practice squad, but he was here, right? But there was some other quarterback. Who the hell was it? Then mid-season, we traded for Flacco and the whole thing. But I think that was somewhat of a misstep, especially when Greg Knapp passed away and you were left with LaFleur and Calabrese. Now, they did a real good job talking Kavanaugh out of retirement for the year and all that. But like they had a major upheaval in the plan. And I think that's probably why they didn't have the vet in here. Like they didn't use the free agent period and offseason and everything to get the vet because Greg Knapp was here. And they had all the faith in the world that Greg Knapp was going to get everything that they needed out of Zach. He passes away tragically and suddenly, and you're left with a first-time offensive coordinator and a first-time quarterback coach. The only real, vet, so to speak, was the offensive line coach and running game coordinator, John Benton. And again, they waited about 5 weeks. Then they, out of respect, I'm sure, and they talked Kavanaugh out of retirement, which was about as good of a get as you can find. But he was here for the year and he went back and he retired again. He was just kind of done. But I think that was what was going on. Joe Flacco was an Eagle. He signed with the Eagles. We could have re-signed him because he was with us the year before. Remember, he was behind Sammy Boy. And so I think it was probably a misstep. But again, I think the passing of Greg Knapp had much larger, ramifications than I think a lot of people give credit. James Morgan, that's who it is. Jets 44. Thank you. That's the other loser that was on the roster. That's him. Thank you. But I think that Greg Knapp, who is a true quarterback guru type of coach, some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, attributed to him. Even Steve Young said, when it was Zach Wilson getting drafted by the Jets, because Greg Knapp is there, is the perfect situation for him. That's what he said. So I think that really knocked us sillier than a lot of people think. It's like we just expect, we'll fucking fix it, whatever. Next up, it was big. And that was our regime's rookie year. Saleh, first-time head coach. LaFleur, first-time OC. Ulbrich, first-time defensive coordinator. He had the interim defensive coordinator job, but he's never been the guy before. First-time quarterback coach. First, rookie quarterback. It was a lot there. And I think the passing of Knapp was the issue there. That's what I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I think. And I think it took a lot out of us, especially the fact that everybody was a first-timer. They were looking to him, man. It was Benton and Napper. And then on the defense, you had Tony Oden and, who's the guy? Hold on. Our safety coach. He's another longtime vet. What the hell? The hell's his name? Hold on. I'm fucking fried. Hold on. What's his name? Marquand Manuel. So he's been a defensive coordinator before. So we had vet coaches sprinkled throughout the the team. It was like really well designed. If you looked at it, it was like very balanced. And when Greg Knapp passed away, it shook the core of the whole thing. Again, Kavanaugh was a great get. Clearly, they didn't agree. Like Kavanaugh and LaFleur were bumping heads because they made that comment. We wanted less voices in the room. What does that mean? If all the voices were on the same page, it's no problem. It meant there was a rift. So the LaFleur thing might be bigger than we think it is. You know what I mean? That's the truth of it. Yeah, right, for Vane. Yeah, there it is. Thank you, guys. So that's what I think, man. Right, Spooner? Like, that's exactly right. Wild wave. That's the key. Like, they had respect. I think nobody can deny that Mike LaFleur has a good mind for the design. I mean, his play designs were working. Our quarterbacks couldn't hit him. But he had a lot to be desired as far as situational play calling, real-time adjusting to what's in front of him, and the development of players and player usage. He just didn't have it. And we complained about it the whole 2 years. But his designs were working. So he's clearly a talented offensive mind. Kyle Shanahan's had him as his right-hand man for 6 years. McVay hired him right away. Why? Because he worked with him in Washington. And so there's all that. So they were looking at it like, okay, we got this young hotshot. He can design the offense, and Napper's going to be the glue, develop this young, strong-armed, mobile quarterback, super smart, great work ethic. Got Benton for the offensive line. So Greg Knapp's going to kind of teach Calabrese how to be a real quarterback coach and let LaFleur just focus on play design. And when Knapp passed away, I mean, it was crazy, man. That's the big one. Yeah. And I think they did put too much faith in LaFleur. But again, I think they really didn't initially. They just kind of hung on to it. I thought they should have kept Kavanaugh. That's what I thought. I was very disappointed when they chose not to bring him back. Because Kavanaugh ran the sideline and LaFleur went upstairs. When they were both on the sideline, it was like a mess. Then LaFleur went upstairs and Kavanaugh ran the sideline. You would see him on the field, like on the sideline, talking to players. Like that was what he did. And we needed that. And then when he left, it was just LaFleur upstairs and Calabrese. You know, and obviously Benton for the line and all that, but it's like, I don't know. I think it was a big whiff, a big mistake. And let them learn through it, man. Now they went out and they got themselves a vet offensive coordinator, a vet offensive line coach, a little bit different, similar mentality, but different. So I think there's a lot to be said for this. Okay, they're learning. And this is when I say, like, I'm tired of fucking firing guys. If you're going to hire first-time guys, you have to have some patience, man, in my opinion. You have to. You can't expect the guy to come in and be perfect. He's never done this before. He's got to show progress. So if they're learning, they're learning. If they're improving, they're improving. Then I'm good enough. That's where I am. I've been doing this too long, man. I'm not, he's got to go if this works. If that doesn't work, he's got to go. That's not me anymore. I'll say it when I think it's necessary, but I would rather see guys get time to correct their mistakes. That's what it is. Time to learn, time to fix it, and time to build. That's what I want. That all said, guys, thanks for hanging out with me for this extra hour. Okay. Shit. I tried. Damn, what am I doing here? Extra hour. Whoops. Okay. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I will see you. I'll see you very soon. Have a good night.
I think he's going to be day one, a violent vertical edge setter.
He's competing today. I see some ass on the edge. Get that mindset to put your shoulder on somebody. Nick!
forgot to end the stream. Have a good night, everybody. I was just getting ready to go. Goodbye.